Hey guys, welcome to this week's show. With me, as always, I have Corey, GM of Saucier Pass. And from out of a cave, we have Clef Bombed here. Uh, thanks for joining us, guys.
Humans. Like
Didn't stay hibernate until he won a game. Like,
two.
two now. Well, welcome to the show, guys. I know Kyle, it's been a while since you've graced us with your appearance here.
Yeah, it's been a bit.
Corey, I see him every week, but
Yeah, same old face.
Novelty's kind of worn off.
Yeah.
yeah,
Shane's been riding it longer than me.
True.
yeah.
I remember when
Yeah.
Nick used to do this.
Those were the days.
He flirts with coming back, like, you know.
Miss that adorable ginger.
We'll see. He's been doing a good job selling. It'd be a good time for him to advertise his players. Like, well, we had some big matchups last week. I guess let's start there because I really want to talk about this. First matchup, as always, we'll talk about Team Ramrod, just because it shows up in my list first automatically. Now in first place at 6-1 after enjoying his Braden bye week with a 9-4 defeat of the Jager Bombs, pushing him down to second place, lowly second at 5-1-1. Who wants to talk about this one here? I know Corey.
Why don't you go with it? Why don't you go?
I was so pumped up when my boys got a shutout. Kemper got me a shutout. They've been struggling a bit lately, the Capitals, and goalie just shut it down. My players were all over the place last week. I loved it. Like going into the day, I think I was up 12-2 on him. So I'm like, well, I might lose some categories, but I'm probably safe. So I didn't even bother making my last pickup. It wasn't worth it for me, Braden, just so you know.
Ouch.
Braden bye week back.
Yeah, it's bad.
1 week only, maybe. But what'd you guys think of this matchup?
I was kind of surprised it wasn't closer because I thought, given how how well Jagerbaum's team has been all season, like I just didn't think he would lay down like that that week.
They fear Ramrod.
I just gonna point out it was a few close categories. Both your goalies didn't show up very much, but you guys got a lot of wins, which I think is kind of funny. But you also had 100 hits. That's a fuck ton amount of hits. That's you got as many hits as you got shots. Like
my boys like to throw the body.
Like, let's see who you had leading the way here.
Romanov get 21 hits.
21, Truba 16, Ristolainen 16. Oshie even had 12. Like he came out hot. Like he had a good week for coming back, right?
Oh yeah.
Stevenson 8. Like that's a ton of hits.
I think I proved his players set.
53 hits between three of your D-man. Like was that? Yeah, you would only been 4 behind him if no one else hit.
I'm running 4 defensemen on my roster, and 3 of them just hit like
Great trains.
Yeah, it was a good matchup. Braden, sorry, buddy. I had to do it to you. I said I was going to do it a couple of weeks ago, and I'm glad I gave you your first loss. Maybe I'll be your only loss until we meet a second time. Maybe, but yeah, it was a good matchup. Tage Sexual going to 4-3 here with in 5th place with an 8-6 defeat of Y'all Try the Beef, now at 1-6-0 in 15th. Oh, I don't know what's going on with Daltrey's team here, but he's lost a lot of close matchups. Corey, why don't you tell me about this one?
Yeah, I would like to say the same, but I feel like Travis felt pretty comfortable with this one. Like a lot of the closer categories were the ones that Daltrey was winning. Once again, their goalies didn't show up. They had like just a rough week. Like 389 was the best, 868 was the best. Like just Travis got the win. That's big. Keep on moving forward, and the rebuild has to wait another week.
Maybe it's over. The rebuild maybe it's over, but
we'll see.
Well, at least for one of them. I mean, I think if Daltrey's team keeps like this, I mean, it's hard to crawl. It's hard to crawl back out of a 1-6
Yeah.
record. Like, I mean, yes, there's still a lot of season left, but like it doesn't look. It looks like Bergeron's going to have a competitor for the Golden Cock.
Well, I mean, let's look at this in the perspective. 8th place is in at 3-3-1.
Yeah.
So he's not far out, like 4 points out right now, right? Yeah.
A lot of season left.
A lot of season. It's not impossible. It's hard. Like you don't want to be in that position, but I mean,
well, I'm just saying it takes them 5 weeks to get to 500.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. It's like that's the difficulty, and generally
5 teams losing too.
Yeah, exactly. And you're going to need to see some sort of consistency in order to really dig into the positives, even get past that 500. It's impossible, but it's going to be a hell of a fight for him.
Really though, there's only a few teams at the bottom. The rest are all middle of the pack, right? With around 3 wins. Like it's not impossible. It's a battle. It's an uphill battle, but
McKinnon had a great week too.
Yeah. No, interesting. It'll be interesting to follow Daltrey's progress. But I looked at his roster. What does he even have to sell? What does he even have to sell? I don't know.
And you got to be active and talking to get trades going.
That's it.
Yeah,
he kind of just lets his go.
Yeah, I messaged him the one day and sent him a trade offer, and it was like a week later, no message back. But it's the way it goes.
He's just not into trades like Daltrey Senior.
No, he needs a good mentor.
Yeah,
I got to look for Daltrey.
Polar opposites. Wonton Suit sitting at 2-4-1 in 13th place after defeating Cherry Pickin' Daddy, who is now something popped up on my screen, of course.
Gotta stop watching the porn there, Shane.
0-7-0. No, it's my antivirus expired. Like, hey, buy a new one. I don't want to buy a new one. Fuck off.
Then they spam you.
Yeah. Leave me alone. I don't want to buy a new one. I don't do much on the internet.
Right.
Not on my computer. Come on.
Oh.
0-7-0 now for Cherry Pickin' Daddy since 16th. Clearly the front runner for the Golden Cock here. You know, he's the one. It was his idea to implement it in the league. Who would have thought that he'd be the number one contender after 1 year? Kyle, what do you think of this matchup?
You know, it was pretty one-sided. Like there wasn't a lot of categories where they were close. I think like game-winning goals they were tied. Shorthanded points they were off by 1. I mean, like, and they were tied for wins, but like other than that, like it was pretty obvious Wonton was winning. Like it was pretty heavy.
I don't agree with that because Kyle was only 1 penalty minute away. So if he got 1 2-minute penalty, it was a 6-6 tie. He was only 2 power play points behind. So like there, but like you're in it till the end. You're last guy, especially with Pims.
Yeah, you get any penalty, right? Like
yeah, 2-minute penalty in a 6-6 week.
Oh, you're right. I did miss that. My apologies. Yeah. You're right. I did miss that.
And that's a scary Sunday to be in for.
Anyone can get a penalty. But...
Yeah, well, exactly. Trust me, I can relate because I had my sphincter tightened my entire week, like the entire last day, so of my week. So trust me, I get it.
Yeah,
a lot of tight weeks actually this week, right? You're gonna see we had 2 ties, right? That could have been a 3rd tie. There's a couple that almost all of them were close. So let's talk about that first tie here. Dude, where's Makar? 2-4-1 now in 14th, taking on 7 on the ice. Tied him, who's now 3-3-1, sitting in 10th. Defending champion, not in a playoff spot yet. That's gonna be a little worrisome. Corey, what do you think of this?
You know, Dan had a great week. His goalie stats, I think, so far would have beaten everyone but Kyle last week. And he just squeezed out a tie with his players alone, going 4-0 in the goalie stats. So it's a tough loss when just the matchup is not the right matchup for that week. But a good week. Keep progressing, and Mark stole a point because I know Dan was in the lead for a lot of that week. Yeah.
What do you think, Kyle?
It just goes to show how important goaltending is. Because like if you were to erase the goaltending, that's not even a fight. Like that's murder, right? And then it's like, okay, with those 4 goaltending categories, getting 4 of those 5 categories, it's so important. Those goaltending categories, they're so freaking important.
I think it's good for Dan that Knight has kind of stolen that crease, right?
Yeah.
Bobrovsky's barely playing, and that's good for Dan, who Knight is kind of paying for himself now a little sooner than people thought he would. Um, they're essentially paying Bob's $10 million to play a game a week.
God, what a deal!
He picked
It's
up
not good.
Corpusalo too, with Mers being out. So he has those Columbus games too for a bit.
Yeah,
That's
I
helpful.
mean, no Columbus goalies playing well this year, so I mean they're not
Well,
playing like the LA goalies, but
that's fair.
Speaking of which, Pettersson got waived.
I know, I saw that.
Oof.
they must have someone in the minors they want to call up to give him a shot. So you're not going to waive Jonathan Quick, right? Like,
Or they're hoping somebody picks up that $5 million tab.
yeah, they're like, hey, we made a huge mistake. Please take this off our hands.
Meanwhile, you got Edmonton who's thinking about the same thing for Jack Campbell.
They can do a swap. This one, I know you guys don't want to talk about this one. At least Kyle does. Clefbaum now 3-4, sitting in 12th after defeating the Trash Man 7-6. Trash Man now at 4-3 in 6th place. Why don't you tell me about this one, Kyle?
This one was so nerve-wracking because you look at how many categories that we were close in. That if he would have like shots, we were down. Difference was 4 shots. He had more players playing than I did on the last game. I think he had 3 to my 1. So the idea of him getting the shots would have been fairly easy. We were close in blocks, 45-42. Shorthand points. We didn't have any, so he would have gotten 1.
Should have picked up Cousins. You would have had some.
Yeah, today
2 on the year,
and one a month ago. But like it was a very close week. Honestly, I'm very encouraged by the fact that I won because I like Nick's team's kind of like a benchmark team. It's always consistently a very good team. So I feel like I was actually thinking about if I would have lost about maybe starting to sell, and now it's like maybe I'll hold off. Maybe I'll.
You're still in the thick of it, right? So
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like you were rather comfortable compared to him. But another story where your goalies won the week for you, going 4-0 in goalie stats. And Nick didn't have a bad week either.
I'm going to say words I never thought I'd say at the beginning of the season. Thank God for Matt Murray.
And Markstrom, you've been absolute ass.
Dan Vladar is kind of starting to steal the. Like he's the one Daryl Sutter's looking at for trust, and it's like, oof. Markstrom,
the consistency, right? So,
yeah.
I will say about Trash Man here. I know Tampa Bay only had 2 games last week. Florida only had 2 games last week. So his goaltending scenario was shit, and Bobrovsky didn't get either of those starts. So he needed a spot start even to get his 3.
And Vasilevsky had a rare bad game.
Yeah.
So like the stars really did align for me here.
I want to give kudos to Nick with his awesome team name / display pick here. Anyone who watches It's Always Sunny knows that that's his wrestling name is the Trash Man when they do the wrestling episode. So I love Danny DeVito. Great choice of name after all the trash talking this week and last week about his trades, his trash players. So I love it.
I like it. I dig it.
Pats are ready to rumble. Now 5-2. In a little bit of a slump of late here after losing to Captain Crunch 8-5. Captain Crunch moves to 3-4. Corey, why don't you tell me about this one?
Captain Crunch getting a big win to keep him alive. Going 2-5 would have been bad, right? And against Pacioretty too, giving him a second loss. That's a big win. Uh, and who was it here? He had a shutout, big game from Vejmelka. Was it? Yeah,
They
Vejmelka.
shut out Carolina.
Yeah, like huge. And like,
Would never have seen that coming.
yeah, that was big. He had great goalie stats for the week. His goalies, he only went 3-2 though, because Nick has so many goalies, so he won wins and saves. But yeah, his team played well and got him the win. That's all that matters. That's all that matters.
That's all that matters. What do you think, Kyle?
They're like Corey said, it was pretty impressive. I didn't think I would not have put money on Carolina getting blanked by the Yotes, but
Don't put money on anyone getting blanked by the Yotes.
but again, that just kind of proves that Vishmelka is a much better goalie for the team that he's playing for. Like, give this guy a team that can play defense, and this guy could do a lot.
Yeah, they're rough to watch right now.
They got Shishrin back. Chitrin?
He's been good. He's been good for them.
Oh, the City Hall just passed the vote for their
Yeah,
arena,
they're getting an arena, so 30 years without moving.
Ooh.
and they're getting a draft or an All-Star game.
Yeah.
So cool.
That's pretty
Can't
good.
be all stars. We don't have any. So why?
Maybe
Yeah.
by the time Matthews is there.
Maybe.
Can't see that happening.
All right now. I think Matthews will sign a short-term deal with Toronto. Like add 2-3 years, and then that's it. He'll take max money, then he'll be out. He's like, no, that's it. This is
It all depends on how the team does. It's a difficult play.
yeah. Yeah, so Captain Crunch coming on that big win due to the Coyotes' unthinkable shutout over Carolina. Good for him. Big move. Again, we'll talk about when we talk about his trades. Like, we'll talk about his roster, but big win last week for Neil. Suck my Ojic here, climbing into 8th place with going 3-3-1 now with a 10-4 victory over the Rasmus Dahlin fan club, who is now 5-2, all the way down to 4th now. Derek, Kyle, what do you think of this?
It was. There were a couple of close categories, but I'm kind of surprised that Neil's goaltending isn't better. Because, like, if you look at his goaltending, Sorokin and Shesterkin, but then you look at both teams, and they're both kind of they're not struggling, but they're not getting the greatest goaltending either team.
Sorokin had a 49 save shutout last week.
That was a shutout, but like you still look at his overall goaltending at 2.62 with a 9.22. Yeah, it's good. And I mean, wow, they both had 4 wins. Holy shit! But he won pretty good. He won pretty hard.
Yeah. What do you think?
Derek had a pretty low scoring week offensively. He had 110 shots though, so you'd think more than 6 goals would come out of that, but it is what it is. But Neil had a pretty comfortable win. That 49 save shutout was huge too. Sorokin. They both had great goalie stats. It was a battle, but just Derek came up a little short.
All right, let's talk about the last one that we really want to talk about. You had me convinced that you were going to beat Sean, and then you didn't. Yeah, you pulled out a tie here, 3-2-2 now, 7th place, so you're still in playoff hunt. And at 3-3-1, Paulie sitting outside in 9th. I almost feel bad for him, but I don't. Corey, I know you want to talk about this one. Tell me about this one.
I was sitting like fairly comfy in the lead all week, and then he squeezed it right to Sunday and got that extra point. When I went to bed, I was winning 6-5, I believe. But we had like 4 people in the late game. I had 3, and he had 1, and we were tied in plus minus. And I was like, that sometimes you don't want 3 people playing at that point when you're worried like any goal does the difference. We ended up being tied in plus minus. That tied the week, but whew, that was close.
Yeah, plus minus is a rough stat to win by or to not lose by.
Yeah.
Also because
Kyle,
it's
what do
one
you
of those
think?
ones where it's like the guy can get hit by plus minus just coming off the bench, and then
Oh
this
yeah,
score, and it's like, you know, like, it's one of those ones where it's a hard one. But hey, I mean, ties better than a loss. I'll take a tie over a loss any day. So, and like again, Poli's teams are usually a pretty good, Pauly's usually a pretty good like regular season team. So
I
Shots
like that you
fired.
threw that in. You had to specify. Right? You're not a
I
good team,
mean,
Sean, but you're good in the regular season.
I
I
mean,
mean, he's made
maybe
the
he's
finals
having hardship
twice.
and maybe he's having hardship in the regular season to have a really good postseason this year.
Maybe.
Different tactic.
If he makes it there.
Yeah.
He'll get in. His
Well, she's
roster's
not going to
fine.
make it this year. I think he's going to win the draft lottery
Get Bedard.
and get Bedard.
Replace Ovechkin.
Ovechkin's on his way out, and he has this plan. I know you do, Sean. I know it. It was a good week though last week. Good results. Like I said earlier, the middle of that pack is tight, right? Anywhere between even first to like 12 is really tight. Like there's still a lot of movement. I think there's maybe 3 teams who are long shots right now, right? Maybe 4. Anyone with 2 wins right now, they need to pull up their socks here and get it going if they wanna compete. But I think 3 is kind of the benchmark where majority of the league is at 3 or more wins, which is pretty impressive through 7 weeks. There's only 4 teams without the third win, right? So a lot of people are beating each other. A lot of different teams. Like you might be losing to Kyle, then Kyle's beating Nick. Like everyone's getting losses from someone, and keeping everyone kind of in the middle. I like it.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
tight. Except for Kyle, the only outlier.
Yeah.
Needs that win.
That win puts him tied with Daltrey for that Golden Cup.
Can it just not be against me this week? Can like next week's next week let
We'll
him have a
see.
win?
We'll see our predictions. Our prediction results for last week, though, I can go for that. It was a pretty rough week. I mean, with the 2 ties, there was 2 matchups we went 0-4 on. Then the other one, the only one that we went 0-4 on otherwise is Captain Crunch winning. So that one hurt. So yeah, I went 2-6. Travis went 2-6. You both went 4-4. Now you're in the lead, Kyle. 38 wins.
Shut up.
At 37. I'm at 36, and Shane's at 33. So anything can happen.
I needed that.
Despite leaving people off my prediction list, I'm still in the lead.
Yeah,
Fantastic.
you have one less loss than you should.
That's true. I see your strategy.
Caught me.
Can't lose if I don't vote.
All right. I'm going to stop this quick.